Hey, what's going on? This is Gold Snaps, and this is a theory crafting video on a Master Mold Ronin deck. Master Mold is coming out this month, and so I thought it'd be cool to come up with a deck idea for it. I'm not claiming that this deck is necessarily any good. I haven't tested it. I don't have a lot of the cards for this. Like, I don't have Master Mold. Obviously, I don't have Master Mold. I don't have Maximus, Absorbing Man, or Ronin. The rest of the cards I have, though. And yeah, the goal of this deck is just to keep cards in their hand so that your Ronin will be as buff as possible. And then ideally you're copying Ronin so you have multiples of them. And also, if you're clogging their hand, that means you're also preventing them from getting answers to whatever you're doing. So I think this deck would work in a lot of ways. But let's talk about why I have each of these cards in this deck. So Iceman is to keep cards in their hand longer. We're gonna skip over Beast for a little bit. Master Mold adds 2 Sentinels to their hand, so that means if they put the Sentinel down, they're just gonna go back to their hand. Baron Mordo draws a card, makes it cost 6. And basically, if it's not a 6 cost card, it's basically useless to them. So that's gonna stay in their hand too. And because 6 cost cards are gonna be in the minority of what's in their deck, there's a good chance that whatever you draw is going to cost a lot more than what it did before. Okay, and then Absorbing Man. Let's skip to Absorbing Man for a second. Absorbing Man, an ideal target to me would be Master Mold to add 2 more Sentinels to their hand. So you can make so that they have 4 to 6 Sentinels in their hand, and that would be really funny. And then let's go back to Mystique. Mystique would be to copy Devil Dino or Ronin in case you don't pull, in case you don't Moon Girl Devil Dino or Ronin. Cosmo and Armor would be to protect your Devil Dino from Shang-Chi. Cosmo would be to protect them from Enchantress. Maximus would be to take advantage of the stats if their hand is clogged, or to just make sure they have more cards in their hand. And then, yeah, like I said before, we want a Moon Girl Devil Dino, or, well, preferably Ronin. But if you don't have Ronin, then Devil Dino is the backup, because at least that way we can still maximize our hand size and make big Devil Dinos. And that is why these cards are in this deck. I would say what is necessary for this deck is Master Mold, Ronin, and Moon Girl. Beast would be awesome, but I guess you don't need it. Everything else I think is pretty much optional. That's what I would recommend. The ideal turn sequence in my mind would be turn 1 Iceman, turn 2 Master Mold, turn 3 Beast on Master Mold and Iceman. Turn 4 we're not playing the yeah, so we'll play Moon Girl, make a copy of Ronin if we have it. Turn 5 Ronin, then turn 6 Ronin and the Master Mold that was back in your hand. You probably have another Master Mold in your hand that you can't use, but yeah, so now they should have ideally 4 Sentinels in their hand at least. Now, to me, that's the ideal turn sequence. It's lacking as far as, like, you don't have any protection for your Ronin against Shang-Chi or Enchantress. But in this turn sequence, at least you have 2 very big Ronins. Now, as far as what this deck is weak to, I would say this deck would be weak to discard, because then you can't keep the Sentinels in their hand. Now, the advantage, though, of putting Sentinels in their hand is they won't necessarily be able to hit the discard targets that they want to. So, they're not necessarily going to be cutting up their swarms. They're not going to be cutting up their big cards. So instead, they're cutting up these Sentinels. So that's the good and bad about going against a discard deck with this deck. But for that reason, because they're discarding your Sentinels, you're not going to want to rely on Ronin then. You're going to want to rely on Devil Dino, since you can still depend on increasing your hand size rather than their hand size. And yeah, that is pretty much the deck. So yeah, let me know if you would make any changes to this deck. let me know if you try it out and how it goes, because I probably will not be able to try this for a very long time. Yeah, just let me know how it goes. If you would change anything, just let me know why you would change it, because I'd be curious about that. And if you want to catch me, if you want to catch my games on Twitch, I'm at twitch.tv/goldsnaps. Hope to see you there. Thank you for listening, and happy snapping.